You played your role as my fake fiancé perfectly well.
Thanks, it wasn't difficult.
At some point, I even began to think I was in a relationship.
Your parents don't seem to be happy with all this.
Right now, I don't care. I can't allow them control my life, and I'm not marrying Adrian. And I have a check for you. Mr. Trump, here is your check of $400,000.
Do you think this money fixes everything?
You've been playing the perfect fiancé role wonderfully well. You deserve compensation.
You know, I didn't do this for the money though.
You need it. At least you need it for your son, Liam. He needs a better life.
I'll hold on to it, but I'm not cashing it tonight.
Fine, but it's yours. You ever feel like you've been carrying everyone else's expectations your whole life?
Yes, every day.
I'm the perfect black daughter. Smart, polished, ambitious enough to make my parents proud, but never too ambitious. Never enough to outshine the family name or the alliances they need. Event planning has been my dream. Something that's mine, not theirs, but every time I get close, someone reminds me the company comes first. It's legacy, the optics, and if I don't marry the right man, I will disappear.
I understand how you feel. I've been in the same shoe with you. My ex left when Liam was 2. She said she loved us. But one day she was there, packing lunches, singing him to sleep. The next she was gone. No warning. Just a note saying she couldn't be tied down.
The air between them thickened. Selena felt the shift, the slow burn that had been simmering since the alley, since the forced bed sharing, since every stolen glance. She leaned in first. Their kiss started slow, tentative, like they were both afraid of breaking something fragile. His lips were warm, soft, tasting faintly of the coffee they'd shared earlier. Then it deepened, his hand sliding to the back of her neck, her fingers threading into his golden hair. A quiet moan escaped her throat. He answered with a low sound of his own, pulling her closer until she was in his lap, legs straddling his hips. They moved to the bedroom in a tangle of limbs and whispered names. Clothes fell away slowly, reverently. This wasn't the frantic heat of their first night. This was deliberate, emotional, every touch laced with unspoken promises. When he entered her, their eyes locked, raw, vulnerable, real. She clung to him as waves of pleasure built, cresting together in a shared, shuddering release that left them both breathless and trembling. Afterward, they lay tangled in the sheets, her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "You're shaking," he murmured, kissing her forehead. "I'm scared," she admitted. "This feels too good to be temporary." He tightened his arm around her. "Then let's not make it temporary." She smiled against his skin, sleepy and content. As her eyes drifted closed, she shifted to get more comfortable, and her hand brushed something in the nightstand drawer he'd left half open. She pulled it out without thinking, a sleek black business card. Cole Enterprises. Trump Cole, founder and CEO, gold-embossed logo. Private contact details. Her breath caught. She stared at it in the dim light, mind racing. Cole Enterprises. Not some small bar management company, something much bigger. She slipped the card back quickly, heart pounding, but the question burned. Who are you really? Trump stirred beside her, half asleep. "You okay?" "Yeah," she whispered, forcing a smile. "Just cold." She curled back into him, but sleep didn't come easily. Later, much later, when the room was dark and still, Trump's phone lit up on the nightstand with a soft buzz. She cracked one eye open just enough to see the screen. From Marcus Hale, attorney. Custody hearing scheduled for next month. Vanessa is pushing for full custody. She's coming hard. We need to prepare. Selena's stomach dropped. Trump was still asleep, arm draped protectively over her waist. But the walls he'd built to protect Liam, they were starting to crack. And so was everything else. Selena pulled into the circular driveway of the Williams estate just before noon, the wrought iron gates closing behind her with a heavy clang that felt final. The house looked the same, grand, imposing, untouched by the chaos she carried inside her, but the air felt thicker, charged with unspoken accusations. She found her parents in the study. Her father stood at the window, hands clasped behind his back, staring out at the manicured lawn as if it held answers. Her mother sat on the leather sofa, fingers twisting the strand of pearls at her throat. "Selena," her father said without turning. "Sit." She remained standing. "I'm here. Let's get this over with." Mr. Williams finally faced her. His expression was carved from stone. Adrian Kane withdrew every promised dollar this morning. Wire transfer reversed. Contracts shredded. We have perhaps 6 weeks before the banks start calling in loans. The company is bleeding out, and your little rebellion is the knife. Selena's stomach twisted, but she kept her voice level. "I didn't ask Adrian to pull funding. That was his choice." "His choice?" Her father's laugh was bitter. "You humiliated him in front of this family, in front of our circle. You chose a bartender over the man who could have saved us." Mrs. Williams spoke softly, almost pleading. "Darling, we're not asking you to love Adrian. We're asking you to think of the people who depend on this company. Employees, suppliers, your future." Selena felt the familiar weight settle on her shoulders. The perfect black daughter, the sacrificial lamb for legacy. She swallowed hard. "I'm not marrying for money. Not anymore." Her father's eyes narrowed. "Then you've made your choice, and we'll all pay for it." The meeting ended there. No resolution, only silence and the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall. Selena slipped out of the study and headed toward the back staircase, needing air, needing space. Halfway down the corridor, she heard Maya's voice, low, conspiratorial, coming from the guest powder room with the door cracked open. "Yes, the photo's already up. Heiress slums it with gold digger bartender. Tag every major gossip outlet. Front page by tonight." Selena froze. Maya laughed softly. "He looks pathetic behind that bar. Trust me, Adrian. This will bury him. And her. She'll come crawling back when the tabloids finish with her." A pause. Maya's tone turned syrupy. "Of course I want my cut when you take over the company scraps. Family first, right?" Selena pushed the door open. Maya spun, phone still to her ear. Her eyes widened for a split second before narrowing into something sharp and satisfied. "Selena, eavesdropping now?" "Who are you talking to?" Selena asked, though she already knew. Maya ended the call with a flourish. "Just a friend concerned about our family's reputation." Selena stepped closer. "You leaked that photo. You framed him as a gold digger to the press." Maya shrugged, unrepentant. "Someone had to. He's using you, Selena. Just like Mom and Dad always said, men only want what we have. Money, status, a ticket up. You think a bartender suddenly wants to play house with an heiress for love? She laughed. Please, you're smarter than that. Selena's hands clenched. You don't know him. I know his type. Maya leaned in, voice dropping. And I know you're going to regret this when the company folds, and you're left with nothing but a broke fiancé and a broken family. Selena stared at her sister, beautiful, venomous, always one step ahead in their parents' game. For the first time, she saw the jealousy clearly, raw and ugly. You're scared, Selena said quietly. Scared that if I choose my own life, yours looks smaller. Maya's smile faltered for a heartbeat. Then she recovered. Keep telling yourself that. See how long it lasts. Selena turned and walked away, heart pounding, the echo of Maya's words chasing her down the hall. Across town, in a sleek glass conference room on the top floor of a nondescript office building, Trump sat at the head of a polished table. 3 advisors, suits crisp, tablets open, waited for his instructions. The Williams Enterprises investment, he said quietly. Make it happen through Hale Capital. Full anonymity. No trace back to me. Wire the initial tranche today, enough to stabilize their cash flow for the next quarter. One advisor hesitated. Sir, if they dig, they won't, Trump cut in. Not yet. And if they do, we'll handle it. The advisor nodded and began typing. Trump leaned back, staring out at the city skyline. He thought of Selena's face last night, vulnerable, trusting, beautiful in sleep. He thought of Liam's small hand in hers while she read him a story. He couldn't let them fall. Not when he finally had something, someone worth protecting. His phone vibrated on the table. Private number. He answered. A woman's voice, cool, familiar, edged with triumph. Trump. Long time. Vanessa. I know about your little fiancé, she said sweetly. The heiress. How convenient. A ready-made family for the judge to see, Trump's grip tightened on the phone. What do you want? I want what's mine, she replied. Full custody. And I'll see you in court. Better start practicing your sad dad routine. The one went dead. Trump stared at the blank screen, jaw clenched. The walls he'd built were cracking faster than he could repair them. And the woman who'd started to slip inside them? She had no idea how high the stakes had just become. The grand ballroom of the Williams estate glittered like a jewel box, crystal chandeliers dripping light, black-tie guests swirling in designer gowns and tuxedos, string quartet playing something elegant and unobtrusive. Selena stood at the top of the curved staircase in a deep sapphire gown that skimmed her curves and left her shoulders bare. The simple silver bracelet Trump had given her catching the light on her wrist. She felt like an imposter in her own home. Trump appeared at her side, tall and striking in a tailored midnight blue tuxedo that fit him far too perfectly for a man who claimed to spend his nights behind a bar. He offered his arm without fanfare. You look beautiful, he murmured, voice low enough for only her to hear. She slipped her hand into the crook of his elbow, pulse jumping at the warmth of him. You clean up dangerously well. He gave her that small, crooked smile. Trying not to embarrass you. They descended together into the sea of murmured conversations and clinking champagne flutes. Heads turned. Whispers followed. The bartender fiancé? after Adrian Kane? What must her parents think? Selena felt the weight of every glance like a physical thing. The cultural undercurrent was unspoken but unmistakable. Her family's old money black elite circle expected alliances that strengthened legacy, not disrupted it. Choosing a white nobody bartender over Adrian Kane was already scandal enough. Doing it publicly was borderline rebellion. Trump felt it too. He stayed close, hand resting lightly at the small of her back, a quiet anchor. But she noticed how he moved through the room, shoulders relaxed, greetings returned with easy confidence, never quite deferential. He didn't shrink. He simply belonged. Halfway through the cocktail hour, Selena spotted Elena Moreau, a high-profile event producer whose client list included Fortune 500 launches and celebrity weddings. Elena was exactly the kind of connection Selena needed to launch her own event planning business, if she ever got the chance. Trump noticed her watching. "That's the woman you've been talking about, right? The one who could open doors?" Selena nodded, throat tight. "She's untouchable. I've tried emailing her twice. No response." Trump studied Elena for a moment. Then, without asking permission, he steered Selena toward her. "Miss Moreau," he said, extending his hand. "Trump called. This is my fiancée, Selena Williams." Elena turned, eyebrows lifting in polite curiosity. "The Williams heiress. I've heard of your family's galas." Trump smiled. "Selena's the real talent here. She's been planning events behind the scenes for years. Corporate, private, high-end. She's starting her own firm. I think you two would have a lot to talk about." Elena's gaze sharpened with interest. "Is that so? What's your vision, Selena?" Selena blinked, caught off guard. But Trump's quiet confidence steadied her. She launched into her pitch. Sustainable luxury events, cultural storytelling, blending African diaspora influences with modern elegance. Elena listened, nodding slowly. When Selena finished, Elena handed her a card. "Send me your portfolio next week. I have a client looking for a fresh voice on a major launch. If you're as good as your fiancé says..." She smiled. "We'll talk." Selena stared at the card as Elena walked away. "How did you..." Trump shrugged. "I pay attention. You deserve to be happy, Selena. You deserve to chase your dreams, not bury them." She looked up at him, heart swelling. "Thank you." He brushed a curl from her face. "Don't thank me. Just promise me you'll go after it, no matter what." Before she could answer, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. "Selena." Adrian Kane stepped into their circle, impeccable in black velvet, a champagne flute dangling from his fingers. Guests nearby quieted, sensing drama. Adrian's smile was all teeth. "You look stunning, as always. Though I must say the company you keep has downgraded." Trump stiffened beside her, but Selena stepped forward first. "Adrian, this isn't the place." He ignored her, eyes flicking to Trump. "Still playing house with the help? How noble. But let's be honest, your parents are humiliated. The whispers are everywhere. What must the Williams think letting their daughters slum it with a bartender?" Selena's cheeks burned. The cultural sting landed harder coming from him, another black man in their shared elite world, the right choice by every unspoken rule. Adrian leaned closer. "I'm willing to forgive this little phase. Ditch the gold digger. Come back to me.
We can announce the engagement tonight. Save face, save the company. Everyone wins." Selena's voice was steel. "I already told you, no." Adrian's smile vanished. "You're throwing away everything for him? A man who can't even afford to buy you a real ring?" Trump moved then, smooth, deliberate, stepping between them. His posture shifted subtly, shoulders squared, voice low and commanding in a way Selena had never quite heard. "That's enough," he said. Not loud, not angry, just final. The room seemed to still around them. Adrian blinked, momentarily thrown by the quiet authority radiating from the man he'd dismissed as nothing. Trump continued, eyes locked on Adrian's. "She said no. Respect it. Or leave." Adrian's jaw tightened. He looked past Trump to Selena. "You'll regret this." Then he turned and stalked away, the crowd parting for him like water. Selena exhaled shakily. Her heart raced, not just from the confrontation, but from the glimpse of something else in Trump. The way he'd handled Adrian wasn't the posture of a bartender. It was the posture of a man used to commanding rooms. She turned to him. "Thank you." He gave her a small nod, but his eyes were scanning the room, alert, calculating.
Later, as the orchestra struck up a waltz, Selena excused herself to the terrace for air. She needed a moment to breathe. From the shadows near the French doors, she saw Trump step outside with a high-profile businessman, Reginald Hayes, CEO of a major media conglomerate, someone her father had been courting for years. They spoke quietly. Selena couldn't hear most of it, but she caught fragments. "Appreciate the discretion, Cole." Trump's voice, low. "Just keep it quiet for now." Selena's breath caught. Cole. She slipped back inside before they noticed her, heart hammering. Later still, while Trump was briefly pulled away by a guest, she overheard him on a quiet phone call in the hallway. "Yes, Cole Enterprises. Confirm the transfer to Hale Capital. Make sure it posts tonight. No name attached." He ended the call and turned, freezing when he saw her standing there. "Selena." She stared at him, mind spinning. A bartender familiar with Reginald Hayes, a man who answered to Cole on private calls. Cole Enterprises. "How do you know these people?" she asked quietly. Trump hesitated, just a fraction too long. "Old friends from before." "Before what?" He stepped closer, voice soft. "Before I chose a quieter life." But the answer felt incomplete, and the ease with which he'd navigated the elite crowd tonight, the commanding presence he'd shown Adrian, the connections he wielded without fanfare, only deepened the question burning in her chest. Who is Trump, really? The Williams corporate headquarters towered over downtown like a glass monolith, sleek, imposing, a monument to the family legacy Selena had spent her life trying to both honor and escape. She sat beside her father in the executive boardroom on the 42nd floor, the city sprawling far below through floor-to-ceiling windows. Mr. Williams' posture was rigid, fingers drumming once on the polished mahogany table before stilling. The door opened. Marcus Hale entered, mid-40s, sharp navy suit, calm gray eyes behind rimless glasses. He carried himself with the quiet authority of someone who didn't need to shout to be heard. Behind him trailed two associates with briefcases and tablets.
Mr. Williams, Miss Williams. Marcus extended a hand. Thank you for meeting on short notice. Mr. Williams rose, shaking firmly. Mr. Hale, we appreciate your interest in Williams Enterprises. They sat. Marcus opened a slim folder. Hale Capital is prepared to acquire a 28% stake in your company, he said evenly. The initial investment will cover all outstanding short-term obligations and provide working capital for the next 18 months. In exchange, we'll take 2 board seats and work closely on strategic restructuring, particularly in expanding your digital and experiential divisions. Selena's breath caught. 28% was significant, enough to stabilize everything, enough to blunt Adrian's withdrawal, enough to buy breathing room. Her father leaned forward. And the terms for partnership beyond the equity? Advisory role on growth initiatives, Marcus replied. We've reviewed your portfolio. There's untapped potential in premium events and cultural branding. We can help scale that. Selena spoke for the first time. My proposed event planning division, would that be included? Marcus met her gaze directly. Absolutely. In fact, we see it as a cornerstone. We'd like your input on the first major rollout. Mr. Williams, the sound of relief he would never admit aloud. This changes everything. Marcus smiled faintly. We believe in long-term partnerships, not bailouts. We're in if you are. Papers were passed. Signatures followed. When it was done, Selena felt the knot in her chest loosen for the first time in weeks. As they walked Marcus to the elevator, her father placed a hand on her shoulder. Brief, almost awkward. You were right to hold your ground, he said quietly. At least for now. Selena looked at him, surprised. It wasn't an apology, but it was the closest thing she'd heard in years. Outside in the crisp afternoon air, she allowed herself a small, private smile. The company would survive, and maybe, just maybe, her parents would finally stop trying to sell her future to save it. Later that week, Selena arrived at Trump's modest Brooklyn apartment with a bag of takeout from the Thai place Liam had mentioned liking. The routine had become easy, almost natural. Playdates after school, helping with homework at the small kitchen table, reading dinosaur books on the worn couch until Liam's eyelids grew heavy. Tonight, homework was math. Selena sat cross-legged on the floor beside Liam's low table, patiently explaining fractions with colored blocks.
You're really good at this, Liam said, pushing a blue block into place. Better than Daddy sometimes. Trump, leaning in the doorway with arms crossed. Hey, I heard that. Liam grinned, small, shy, but real. After homework, they moved to the living room. Selena pulled out the picture book she'd brought, a story about a lost dragon finding a new family. Liam curled against her side, Rex the dinosaur tucked under his arm. Halfway through, he spoke softly. My mom left because she didn't want to stay. Selena's reading faltered. She lowered the book. Liam stared at the page. She said she loved me, but then she was gone. I'm scared people leave when they say they love you. Selena's throat tightened. She set the book aside and turned to face him fully. I know that feeling, she said quietly. My family, they love me, but sometimes it feels like they love what I can do for them more. Like I have to be perfect or they'll stop wanting me around. I feel trapped sometimes. Like I can't breathe unless I do exactly what they want. Liam looked up at her,
blue eyes wide and searching. "Do you ever want to leave?" "Sometimes," she admitted. "But then I think about the people who make me feel safe, like your dad, like you." Liam was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached for his crayons and a piece of construction paper. He drew carefully 3 stick figures, one tall with golden hair, one smaller with a big smile, one with long, dark curls and a bright dress. They were holding hands under a lopsided sun. When he finished, he pushed the paper toward her. "This is us," he said shyly. "You're pretty like Daddy says." Selena's eyes stung. She traced the drawing with her fingertip. "It's beautiful, Liam. Thank you." Trump watched from the doorway, expression soft and unguarded. His gaze lingered on Selena, on the way she smiled at his son, the way she listened without pity, the way she made Liam feel seen. Something in his chest cracked open wider. He was falling, harder than he'd ever intended. Later, while Selena helped Liam brush his teeth, the boy yawned hugely. "Daddy has a big house too," he mumbled sleepily, "with a pool. But we stay here 'cause it's cozy." Selena froze, toothbrush paused midair. Liam didn't notice. He was already drifting, eyes closing. She rinsed the brush slowly, mind racing. A big house, a pool. She glanced toward the living room where Trump was tidying up toys. How many more secrets was he keeping? And how long before they all came crashing down?